Good morning, students. Today's discussing about platelets. Already I told the blood it contains mainly three parts. First one RBC, second one WBC, and third one platelets. Already told the RBC and WBC. So now platelets. Platelets are irregular in shape. Irregular in shape and N-nucleated, irregular in shape and N-nucleated. They are also called thrombocytes. Thrombocytes. They are cell fragments produced from megakaryocyte. What is a megakaryocyte? It is a special cell. Cells in the bone marrow. These are cell fragments produced from the megakaryocyte. What is a megakaryocyte? It is a special cells in the bone marrow. Special cells are megakaryocytes. Normally the blood contains 1 lakh. The blood contains 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 platelets per mm cube. The platelets are mainly 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 platelets per mm. Okay. First of all, platelets are irregular in shape and N-nucleated. Okay. Next, these are also called thrombocytes. And next one, they are cell fragments produced from the megakaryocytes. So what is a megakaryocytes? It is a special cells in the bone marrow. Okay. The blood contains 1,50,000 to 3,50,000 platelets per mm. Okay. Next, the platelets can release a variety of substances, most of which are involved in the coagulation or clotting. Of blood. The platelets can release a most of involvement of the coagulation and clotting of blood. Coagulation or clotting of blood. So very important thing. And a reduction in the number of reduction in their number can lead to the clotting disorders. It leads to the clotting disorders. Disorders will leads to excessive loss of blood from the body. It leads to the excessive loss of blood from the body. So a reduction, that is the clotting disorder. So it leads to the excessive loss of blood from the water. So that is the very important characters of the platelets. Okay, and next one is the lymph. Next one is the lymph. So what is lymph? First of all, what is lymph? Lymph is a colorless fluid. Lymph is a colorless fluid. Lymph is a colorless fluid. Why was called the colorless fluid? Because of lack of RBC. So it is a colorless fluid. But it containing specialized lymphocytes. It containing a specialized lymphocytes which are responsible for the immune responses. Lymphocytes which are responsible for, these are responsible for immune responses of the body. Lymph is a colorless fluid. Why was called the colorless fluid? Because it lacks of RBC and it contains a specialized cells, that is the lymphocytes. So these are the main function is responsible for the immune responses of the body. And the lymph is also an important carrier. The lymph is also an important carrier for nutrients and hormones, etc. The fats are absorbed through the lymph. As a lacteals in the intestinal villi. So lymph is a colorless fluid. It is also called the lymphocytes. A special cells are lymphocytes. It is mainly responsible for the immune responses of the body. The lymph carrier for nutrients and hormones, etc. The fats are absorbed through the lymph as a lacteals in the intestinal villi. Okay. An elaborate network of vessels called lymphatic system. A network of vessels called lymphatic system, and it collects interstitial fluid, and drains it back to the major veins. A network of vessels are called the lymphatic system. So it collects the interstitial fluid and drains it back to the major veins. The exchange of nutrients, gases, etc. between the blood and the cells always occurs through this blood. First of all, exchange of nutrients, gases, etc. between blood and cells always occurs through this fluid. Which fluid? Interstitial fluid. This fluid, interstitial fluid. The next one, the lymph capillaries. Capillaries means these are the hair follicle like structures. These are the hair follicular structures. Hair follicle structure. Capillaries are the hair follicle structure. The lymph capillaries are microscopic and closed ended tubes. Microscopic and closed ended tubes. Closed ended tubes and form a vast network. In the intracellular spaces. Intracellular spaces. The lymph capillaries are a microscopic structure and closed-ended tubes, and then form the vast network in the intracellular spaces. All lymph vessels from lower part of the body. All lymph vessels from lower part of the body and left part of the body, lower part and left part of the head and thorax, and open into a thoracic duct, which in turns into the left subclavian vein. That is a very important word. All lymph vessels from lower part of the body and left part of the head and thorax and open into a thoracic duct, that is a left subclavian vein. Okay. And next one, all the lymph vessels from the right part of the body, right right part of the head, and thorax, right part of the head and thorax open into a right lymphatic duct, open into a thorax, open into a right lymphatic duct, that is right subclavian vein, lymph vessels bear lymph nodes at intervals and are they abounded in the neck, armpit, and groin in etc. The lymph vessels are bear lymph nodes, lymph nodes at intervals, lymph nodes at intervals, lymph nodes and intervals. So these are the only lymphatic system or lymph. Okay, and remaining part is the blood clotting factors. How to blood clot? So these are the main blood clotting factors. So first factor is the fibrinogen. Second one is the prothrombin, and third one is the thromboplastin. And fourth one is the carotians, and fifth one is proaxelerin, and seventh one is proconvertin, and eighth one is the antihemophilic factor, and fifth one and eighth factor, seventh factor, fifth factor, and ninth factor is plasma thromboplastin component, and 10th factor is and start power factor, and 11th one is the plasma thromboplastin antecedent factor, and 12th factor is Heisman's factor, and 13th factor is fibrin stabilizing factor. So these are the main important blood clotting factors. These are also very, very important for the blood clotting. For example, when injured in body, usually the blood stops flowing after some time. The blood contains fibrinogen fibers release and form the blood clotting. So heparin, it is an anticoagulant, so it is released from the blood cells. Histamine, bradykinin, heparin, so these are also very important for the blood clotting, and blood clotting factors are very, very important. Okay, so when injured, usually the blood stops flowing after some time. This due to the phenomena is called the clotting. So this phenomena is called clotting. The blood exhibits a coagulation or clotting is responsible an injury. This is mechanism prevented excess loss of blood from the body. For example, the blood contains thromboplastin. The blood, when injured tissue contains thromboplastin, and the blood platelets release thromboplastin. Thromboplastin. So this is the injured tissue thromboplastin, and it is the platelet thromboplastin. Injured tissue thromboplastin and platelet thromboplastin fuses to form the prothromboplastin. Prothromboplastin. Prothromboplastin is converted into thrombin. Prothrombin is converted into thrombin Prothrombin is a inactivated form. Thrombin is a activated form. Prothrombin is inactivated. Thrombin is a activated. The prothrombin is converted into thrombin in the presence of prothrombokinase. ACE, that is the enzyme. ACE means enzyme. So prothrombokinase, it is enzyme. It is activated the inactivated particle, that is converted into activated particle. So that is the thrombin. Prothrombin is converted into thrombin. Again the thrombin converts fibrinogen is converted into fibrin in the presence of thrombin. So thrombin, it acts as a enzyme. Fibrinogen is a inactive form. So fibrin is a active form. Usually when injure the body, then the blood flowing a long time. After some times it stops the blood. Finally fibrinogen then releases the fibrin threads. Fibrin is a thread-like structure. So it's form a network of capillaries. It look like a network or mesh. So the blood stops after network. Okay, so that is the blood clotting factors. Mainly the blood clotting factors used by eighth factor and Heisman's factor. Eighth factor and 12th factor. Heisman's factor, eighth factor. So these two factors are very important for the blood clotting. So injured tissue is the thromboplastin and platelet tissue is the platelet thromboplastin. Both are converted into prothrombin plastin. Again prothrombokinase, prothrombokinase, it is an enzyme. It is converts the prothrombin, it is an activated form, converted into activated form is the thrombin. So again the thrombin is converted into fibrinogen. Fibrinogen is an inactive form. It is also converted into fibrin threads. Okay, so finally the threads are released and then form the network like structure, then blood flowing is stopped. So that is the blood clotting factors, the mechanism of blood clotting. Okay, thank you.